is this the best compact sedan out? This is a 2025 Volkswagen Jetta Sport in platinum gray metallic over Titan black cloth interior. The sport trim is kind of the sweet spot, and I'm going to give you some reasons why you may want to consider this. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to compare this against the competition, give some pros and cons, and the problem that I have. Now, the reason why you want to consider the Sport over the base is you're going to get the light bar that's integrated in the grille that goes into the reworked LED headlights and daytime runnings. That's standard on all trims. But also going into the Sport, you lower the suspension by 0.6 inches, adding the XDS cross differential limited slip. The lower gets the glossy black inserts because this is the Sport trim. And underneath the hood for all four trims is going to house the same 1.5 liter TSI 4-cylinder turbocharged. That's producing 158 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque, paired to an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission, achieving 29 mpgs for the city. But wait for this, 40 mpgs for the highway, which is right at the best. It's about 1 mpg less than Toyota and Hyundai. Going into the Sport, changes out the 16-inch wheel to the 17-inch wheel, and going into the SEL, swaps those for 18-inch, as well as giving us a moonroof. The SE will give us push-button start. Going back to the competition now. When you're thinking about Toyota, it's going to be a little bit smaller than this. And it has a CVT transmission, which this is a 8-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission. So right there, that kind of leans me towards here. Pricing is only a few $100 difference between the two. This is not going to be the least in class for pricing this year because we did get the update with the technology. As for Hyundai, you're going to get 12 over 1 mpg better than this, but it's going to have the least power compared to this. You'd have to go into the inline to swap out that IVT or CVT transmission, more or less, to get the 8-speed dual wet clutch automatic transmission. And then the pricing to that will put you into an SEL, or even better, you can go into the GLI, which will swap this engine out for the 2.0 liter, giving over 220 horsepower. And you can option manual transmission or the DCT automatic transmission, which will drop the 0 to 60 to as low as 5.6 seconds. So just something to think about. That's the first reason why I would say this is the better compact sedan to go to, because any variant that we're talking about, once you go into the next level, meaning you go into an SI for the Civic, or you go into the inline, or you go into a full-blown in, or you go into the GR Corolla, you got a GLI. And those are going to be more expensive than that. You're going to have more performance, bigger brakes, and all the standard amenities that you get because they only offer one trim. The rear is getting standard LED taillights with the light bar that goes into the Jetta. This is refreshed, as well as the lower bumper with the grille pattern. No exhaust to be found, and because this is the Sport trim, I would like to see that. I know it's only a 1.5 inline turbocharged, but still, Sport means give us some of that Sport essence. I mean, let me know your thoughts on that. And if you think this is the better compact sedan over the competition. Quick release going into 14.1 cubic feet of storage. Underneath the floor gets a spare tire. And you can pull these tabs right here to split fold the rear bench at a 40-60 split. And that's going to maximize the cargo capacity to the Jetta. The key fob for the Sport Jetta, which it's an actual key. Cloth seats is standard. 6-way manual adjustment for the driver. Power driver seat starts on the SE. The SEL adds leather heated, ventilated front seats with memory for the driver. And you're going to notice the dashboard has been reconfigured. The technology is better. Let's fire it up. 12 speakers through Beats with 400 watts is only on the SEL. You'll have the 3 lines. It's going to have matte black, the chrome, and gloss black. So it's going to look sporty. It's going to bulge out a little bit. Driver focus setup, 8-inch is standard on all trims. Navigation goes into the SEL. Now, when you're thinking wireless, you have to go to the SE. So wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto with a wireless charging pad. That's where you go for that. Put it into reverse, and you get a reverse camera. This is a con to me because it doesn't cover up the whole screen. The trajectory does not expand, and I just feel like those things should be standard. It does have a dual climatron, which is a dual climate control setting with a new touchpad, so you can simply slide like that, or you can just hit like a plus or minus for your climate control. Heated front seats start on this trim with a long storage pocket, 2 USB ports, a 12 volt, eco mode, as well as to turn off that auto start stop with the gloss black on the Tiptronic automatic transmission. An area for the key fob. When you go into the SE, you'll get push button start. This is pushback, but it's soft. It opens up into a deep storage pocket. And if you want more USB ports, you have to go up into the SEL. Leatherette 3-spoke steering wheel. It does have a flat bottom, multi-function with a digital gauge reader. The 10.2 is only on the SEL. This will go through an array of different content for the driver, and you can change different views on the gauge cluster. Auto dimming rear view mirror with the home link, which will open your garage. Moonroof is only on the SEL. Door panel and dash can figure together nicely, but they don't give you the gloss black, and they give you this satin aluminum or a brush aluminum look. As for the touch to feel, it's going to be a little bit more firm and actually more soft here. One touch up and down for all the windows with a long storage pocket. Leg space is not going to be a problem. You have the sport pedals. This is a sport trim. As for the passenger side, this kind of comes outwards a little bit more so because they're trying to make the aesthetic look for the driver focus, but the bulging out just, you're going to lose a little bit of space there. Headroom is actually good. Back seat, I got to open the door. Push that button right there. Take two. For the back seat, that's the opening that you have to fit two more with the cup holders and armrest down. No USBs, air vents, storage only behind the passenger seat. Leg space is not going to be an issue for somebody that's over 6 foot tall. The same thing with headroom. This is the second reason why I think this is the better compact sedan, because when you go into Corolla, it's going to be a lot more tight. You do sit up higher here, but the seats are a little bit more comfortable. And my knees are unfortunately sitting up in the air, which is the same case for every vehicle except for the Civic. They do a little bit better job with the comfort for the back seat. Door panel is going to be stripped of the aluminum look, and the worst part about it is they strip out everything. You don't have that leatherette here. It's somewhat soft to touch, but it's still more firm with a long, deep storage pocket. Sliding into the center, it's doable. The hump doesn't make it very easy. The rails are not pushed up enough, but you won't be sharing that much feet space. Butt, leg, and shoulder space, I mean, you're gonna share some, but for a compact sedan, it works. As for headroom, you sit up a little bit higher than my liking. The Jetta Sport is a unique vehicle because you're getting great value with some performance because it's a turbocharged inline 4-cylinder, 158 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. It's nothing to go crazy about, but it gives you enough blend when you go into the sport trim over the base because it does lower the ride for the suspension by 0.6 inches. It also gives you the light bar. I mean, look at the thing go. And the best part about the Jetta is you're getting a lot more standard features than competition, especially with the dual climate control settings, heated seats in the front. When you go into the SE, you finally start getting things like the push button start and power seat for the driver, leather. You're still under 30 grand to get leather seats, the heated ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, navigation. I mean, think about the value, because when you go into the Civic, they've raised the price quite a bit. You're going to be spending around 3-4 grand more to get something fully loaded that's comparable to this, and yet this is going to be more fun than that, because the way the turbocharge is off the line, you actually have some excitement with this vehicle. And typically when you go into compact sedans, it's really more family oriented, in which it throws out the fun to drive. That's why I like the sport trim. The SE I like a little bit more, and I probably would pay the $1,200-ish upgraded price just because you're getting more features. But even at this tier, everyday vehicle, it's nailing it. The steering is light, so for maneuverability, it's not a problem. It's not that long of a vehicle, hence compact. Sound deadening is not that good, but it's not gonna change. This is a Jetta. Turn radius at a stop point is gonna get about 2 lanes. Let's give her a go. Exhaust filters in, and it doesn't sound like a drone note, which when you go into Toyota and Honda, it kind of does. Braking in the vehicle is good. It doesn't feel heavy whether you're mashing on the gas or slamming on the brake. That's going to take me to the pros and cons. Starting off with the pros is the refresh. They did a good job with the way the exterior looks. It does look more luxurious, but on the con, I wish they still had the Passat, because the Passat was traditionally known to be more of the luxury side for Volkswagen, and this to be kind of the more sporty side. I mean, let me know your thoughts on that. Interior, I like the driver focus setup. It doesn't disqualify the passenger too much, but it does have somewhat of a wall, not to the point like the Elantra, which I feel that's the big problem with Hyundais. They put that huge wall with a little grab handle. It just doesn't make sense, because a compact sedan, if you want it to be that sporty, you're typically wanting to spend more money to go into like the true inn. But this overall is a little bit easier to navigate for the front occupants. Cargo capacity is good, storage nooks is more than enough. Charging ports is kind of lacking because you don't have any in the back, nor do you get the air vents, and you have to go into the SE in order to get the charging pad, which I understand. You got 4 trims, so you have to give features and different aesthetics to make people want to go that route. But in the same category, some things need to start becoming standard, because this is 2025, like a push-button start at least, especially going into the sport trim. I think that would just kind of push people more into that tier, because from the base to this, unless you're really wanting that more engagement, I mean, you might as well save the money and just go to the base. I like that we're getting full digital gauge cluster as well as an 8-inch standard touch screen. I don't like how it comes out of the dash, but I get the design because they're trying to make it sporty, especially with the 3-line bars that go on the passenger side. Dual climate control settings is standard with the touchpad, which is really cool, especially when you're considering this is just a touch over 21 grand at a base price. My knees are not sitting up in the air whenever I'm driving on a long distance, so it's actually a little bit more comfortable than Hyundai. And Toyota, you kind of sit upwards more. So this one, you sit more in the vehicle. I just feel like for a long ride, you will feel a lot more relaxed instead of tired. And the only other problems that I can find is the sound deadening being kind of loud, but in this price category, it's really hard to be complaining about that. You're not getting any real upgrades in stereo system going from a base to a sport. But the comfort to it, from the 16 to 17-inch wheels, it doesn't alter the ride that much. An 18-inch is the largest wheel you can get. So overall, I mean, this is a compact sedan that checks the box for an everyday use. Going into the Sport gives a little bit more fun. Going into the SE gives a little bit more tech. SEL unlocks everything, and you're still under 30 grand, and that's really the third reason for me that I think this is the better compact sedan compared to any of the competition. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise website and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Volkswagen of Newport Richey for giving us this 2025 Volkswagen Jetta Sport for our car review.